Hello, welcome back. In this video, we will understand how to perform splitting and stacking on NumPy arrays. We will also understand the difference between ravel and flatten functions. It's exciting, right? So let's get started. So we have understood how do we save and load array data. If you want to save multiple arrays, we have used np.saves, and if you want to make sure you save multiple arrays into a compressed format, we have seen saves underscore compress. That's good. But now we'll be understanding some other important array functions where how do you understand, how do you try to join the sequences, and how do you try to split it, and how do you try to just pass the reference or just pass the copy. That's where we have two important functions which is generally related to how do we pass the reference or a view of original array and how do you pass copy of original array. That's where we'll be working on ravel and flatten. But before that, I want to make it very simple. Let me come to very basic. If you already are aware of Python, that means you know how to create a list, right? Because list is an ordered collection of whether it is same type or different type of elements. That's fine. You know this. That's it. A is a list. That is, if I give type of A will be a list, right? So what I'll do is I'll try to simply assign this type to A. So that is B is equal to A. Very good. Now B is also a list. That's fine. So what is A of 1 now? You could clearly see indexing starts at 0 and ends at n minus 1. So A of 1 is 2 obviously. That is very much simpler. But now what I'll do is I'll make a simple change where what happens if I change B of 1 is equal to 35. If I make B of 1 equal to 35, you already know this. When you print B, you get same result as A. A is 1 to 3, B is 1 to 3. And if you are calling A of 1, you get 2. But now I am trying to modify a value inside B because you are assigning, or yes, I mean you are just copying, you are just taking every values of A into B. You are not taking copy of it. You are just assigning every value of A to B, right? Something like you take it as swapping. So now you give B of 1 equal to 35 and try to print B. You see what happens when you print B. That's where you go. See, B of 1 is 35. Very good. That is very simple. If you understand, if you go for B of 1 equal to 35, you get the different result because the value has been changed. Now try to print A. You may think that A is same. No, you could clearly observe the A of 1 is also changed because here we are not making a copy. We are just swapping the values from A to B. If you change values in B, A will also change, right? You could clearly see A of 1 previously was 2, but now what is A of 1? It is 35. That's where we'll understand the differences between ravel and flatten in arrays. Because generally, ravel function will return the reference or view, same as the above case. So ravel returns reference or view, because if you change the reference, the duplicate one also defected, because that's where we follow it. So ravel returns the reference or view of original array. That means if we change the values in the formed array, the original array will also be affected. That's where I'll write a point here. If you modify the array, you will clearly notice that the value of original array will also be changed. This is a very key point. If you read any other blocks, you may not read it, you may not get perfect result, but mark my words, if you clearly follow it, it will be very easier. That the value of original array also changes. I'll prove it. I have taken the example of list in the above case, but now what I'll do is I'll try to create an array and make you understand. So I'll give A is equal to np.array of, let me throw an array along with the shape of whether it is of 4 by 3 or whatever it is. I'll just give 2 rows and 4 columns. Let's go for it. Whatever symbol you give. So I'll give 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll take another array, another row, 3, 1, 4, 2. Very good. And if you want to give print of A, and even if you want to check the shape of it, how do? You just give A dot shape. Very good. So print of A and A dot shape, 2 rows, 4 columns, as I clearly mentioned. Very good. But now what you'll try to do is you try to make sure you pass B is equal to A dot ravel. because you just see it returns a flattened array, right? That means now when I give print of B, you could see that array will be a flattened array, and if you want to check the shape of it, B dot, or let's go for the dimension, B dot n dimension. What you are expecting? It will be a one dimension array very clearly. That means we are converting from 2 dimension to 1 dimension. Very good. Now you know what is B of 0. B of 0 is 1 obviously. So as B of 0 is 1, what I'll do, and what is A of 0? A of 0 is also 1. Let me just throw it here. So A of 0 is already 1. But now what I'll try to do is, sorry, A of 0 is 1, 2, 3, 4. My bad. A of 0 is, that is A of 0. What happens over there? It is 1. But what I'll try to do is, I'll try to change the first value, because we have just given it as a multi-dimension, no? It A of 0 is 1. So what I'll try to do is, I'll try to change the first value. That means, if I give B of 0 is equal to 25. Very good. Now just print B. Just print B. You could clearly see what happened. The first value is changed. The first value clearly changes. Okay. You may think that A is same, but no. When you go for A, the first value will also change, because we are taking the reference. That means if you change within the formed array, the original is also affected, because A of 0 is the first row. If A of 0 is the first value, first row and first column, first element, because you have changed B of 0. That's where you could clearly find the difference. When you print B and when you print A, you could see first element is changed, because we have formed that as Ravel. Now, because Ravel will take the reference, whereas if you go for flatten, if you don't want to have such changes, if you don't want to make Ravel, if you don't want to make the formed array and the original array have no connection, you could use the concept of the same thing which we have done in list. I'll just revise it. I'll just go for B is equal to 1, 2, 3, and what you can do, C is equal to, you can go for copy method, because copy creates it returns a copy, right? So now if I print C, so now what happens? C is also 1, 2, 3. It takes a copy. Basically takes a shallow copy. That means if you change C of 1 is equal to 45, and if I give print C, and I'll throw directly here print of B, you need not worry that original list will change. See, C of 1 is 45. What is B of 1? B of 1 is 2 only, because we have taken copy. We did not refer it, because it takes a shallow copy of the given list. That's where copy plays a very vital role in the built-in methods. That's where we have seen for lists. This is very, very simple when you go for lists or sets, because tuples, they are immutable. And we'll use the same concept for flatten, because flatten will take copy of the original array, whereas flatten returns. So flatten returns the copy of original array. This is very, very important. That means if you modify any elements within the formed array, original array will never ever be affected. Let me prove it. I'll take the same example where I'll just try to give, we have already taken the array A here, right? So I'll just read the same array. I'll try to copy the same thing. A is equal to np dot array, and you know the shape of it. But what I'll do is, instead of passing the Ravel function, we'll just throw it as flatten. Then only we can understand, right? So what I'll do is, I'll just give C is equal to A dot flatten, because it written a copy of the array collapsed into one dimension. That means if I give print of C, and if I expect C dot, if I give print of C, and if I give print of C dot n dimension, that will be same, because we have just given the same thing, C dot n dim, if I'm not wrong. Yes. So C dot n dim, the same thing. Yes. So now you could see that as the same one dimension that returned the flattened array, because this is your A. Now what we'll do is, let's try to modify the values of A, that is C of 1. So I'll take C of 1 is equal to 45, and if you print C, I think I gave C is capital letter, yes. So I'll just make it a small letter. So print of C. Now the first element, I mean index wise, C of 1 is 45. You are expecting the same thing happens for A? No, A will never ever change. See, A of 0, this is the first element, the same, and A of 1. That means if you want to check the A of 1, so A of 0, if you go for the second element A of 0 of 1, what you are trying to change here? You are trying to change. See, original thing is 2 only. This is if you are seeing the flattened array, previously you have made C of 1 as 45 because 2 is modified to 45, but A is not changed. Observe clearly over that, because if you understand indexing and slicing, it is very much simpler. That's where we could clearly see how does ravel and flatten. Just always remember, ravel is similar to the reference which we generally swap the values. Flatten is similar to taking the copy. Because if you change the elements in the original or duplicate, both are different. It is just only taking the copy and the remaining things are as it is. That's where ravel and flatten play a very vital role. So for that reason, I have explained it from the list concept to make it very simpler, right? Always keep that point. If you are trying it, where you just go on. If you get the errors, you should start debugging from that step only. That is very, very important point. Always remember. So now we will understand about the other important function, which is split, right? So how do you try to split the arrays? So split plays a very vital role when we try to split an array into multiple sub arrays. So just make sure, but here it will be with some different thing. I mean, if we could go for the function, you'll understand where it is. How do you try to split the given sentences? I mean, how do you try to separate it? But now here it plays a simple thing. So when you try to split an array into multiple sub arrays, if you could clearly follow it, it becomes very much easier, because when you go for any documentation, official documentation or anything, it may get confused. Let me make it very simple. So for that, what I'll do is, I'll try to take an array. I declare an array arr is equal to np dot, why can't I take random, right? Why can't I take random? Or if you want to just throw in the format of a range function so that you could see the numbers clearly, that would be better. A range of 10, where I want to reshape this. So I just want to reshape it as, so what is the possible things you have? 2 5s, 1 10, 10 1s, 5 comma 2. So it's better to go for 5 rows and 2 columns. So when you print ARR, you see from 0 to 9. This is very much simpler, which we already know it. But how do we go for splitting here? Because when we go for splitting, np dot split off, it expects the array. The first thing is array. The second things are indices or section. This is very, very important, because what is the possibility it is expecting? So you see here, if indices or sections is a 1D array, the entries indicate where along axis their array is split. Because if the splitting is not matching, it will throw an error. So for that reason, if you want to have how many splits, suppose if I want to give like this, like A comma B comma C, and I wanted to make it as 3 splits, where I just give my input, my ARR, and I want to pass how many splits I get. Like this, you should give in this way. Otherwise, it will throw an error, where if you give in normal index manner, you may not get satisfied easily. So what I'll do is, I want to have the splits in this way, 1 comma 3, because it clearly tells you if it is 2 comma 3, before 2, 2 is 2, and after 3, because it's in the same way. In the same way, before is to 1 and 1 is to 3 and after 3, because generally what is here ARR of 1, what is ARR of 1, you could clearly see, if before ARR of 1 is 2 is to 3. That means what is before ARR of 1, you get the first 2 rows, that we already know. If you include after 1, you will get all the rows, right? After 1, if you include like this, what does that mean? Starting from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But if you include before 1, what does that mean? It includes only first row. That's where you see the logic here. When you are entering in this split, in the sense, you could clearly see this is your input array, it expects. So you pass your input and make sure what is index. See, before before the given 1, 2 is to 3 in the, 1 comma 3 in the sense before 1, 1 is to 3 and after 3. That's where I pass ARR comma, I want to pass it as 1 comma 3. And if I execute this, you should see, you should print the variables, then only you could see. If you give A, what does this split will give you? This split should give you before 1. That means ARR of is to 1. This you should get the result. There you go. You should get the first row. And if you print B, this you should throw it as ARR of 1 is to 3. That is the reason I have split in the 3 ways. What is 1 is to 3? You see, you gave 1 is to 3, right? So 1, 2. So 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you print C, how many rows are present after 3 is to those many number of rows? You get the result, the 2 rows. That's how you could see the result, right? Why should I give 1 is to 3 and why can't I give 2, 2 comma 3? Yes, you can do it. Then before 2, that means this number will be 2. You get first 2 rows. And here 2 is to 3. What happens over there? That is only the third row. And after this, you get only the last 2 rows. It depends what is the input you gave. And if you pass 3 comma 3, the same result. Before 3, you get the top 3 rows. And if you give 3 is to 3, is there any row in it? That's the reason you got empty shape, right? And after 3 is to, you get the last 2 rows. It depends on how we are passing it. And if you pass 4 comma 3, you see what happens here. Now when you execute this, you just always see how we are splitting it. You got the first 4 rows as the first split. And if you go for the next thing, can you imagine you have any split? No, right? That is the reason you got the empty split here. And for this, you are including after 3. Just make it very simple how we are splitting it. So this plays a very vital role. Just make it before 1 and 1 is to 3 and after 3. That is the reason I give 3 variables here. If you don't pass 3 variables, how could you see the result in the sense? You could see like this. You will see the result. NP dot split of, just pass your array and make sure you pass 1 comma 3. 1 comma 3. And how do you make sure you want to give sections for, how do you try to give the, define the array into how many equal arrays? So if I pass this, what happens? You could see like this. You may not clearly understand what is happening over there. See, this is the first split, second split, third split, right? If you execute the same thing, you get the same result. Before 1, that is first row, and we gave the middle 2 rows and the last 3 rows. That's what you get, last 2 rows, sorry. That's what you're getting here, but you may not observe clearly. That is the reason I have passed 3 variables. If you pass 1 comma 3, before 1, 1 is to 3 and after 3. That's how you clearly understand how do you split the given array into multiple arrays. So that is how we have understood how the split will work. Now let's try to understand the other 2 important functions with split, which is H split and V split. That is horizontal split and vertical split. So when you go for H split function, it's simple. We try to split an array into multiple sub-arrays horizontally. When we say horizontally, that is column wise. So I'll make it very simple, because then we'll go for understanding the stacking operations, how do we join the arrays, and we'll see one more important function, which is where. So this H split function will generally make sure it is used to split an array, because if you understood the split function, then H split will be very easier. Just make it very simple. When you're working on split function, you need to understand the indexes. How do we adjust joining this? How do we adjust understanding the slicing concept over there? So we split the array into multiple sub arrays horizontally. When we say horizontally, what does that mean? It's not row wise, it is column wise, because always you see the columns as horizontal, because that's where we write the column names, right? So for this, what I'll do is, I'll just make sure I'll pass an input like this, where I'll give A is equal to np dot a range of, I'll take 16 the values and I want to reshape it as, so if it is 16, the better reshape would be 4 comma 4, right? So when you print A, you could see the arrays as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is, what if you split by column wise? 0, 4, 8, 12, 1, 5, 9, 13. That's what you see, right? 0, 4, 8, 12, 1, 5, 9, 13. and the other two columns would be. So right, now what we'll try to do is, we try to just make sure we split them. So we just give np dot, it's not horizontal split, we just give h split of, it is expecting the array and indices or section. Please refer to the split documentation, it is clearly telling it, right? So what I'll do is, I'll just give my input split, and I want to just split with this two indexes. I want to have two splits, so I'll just give 2. That means you could clearly see over there, what is the first split? The first is 0, 4, 8, 12, 1, 5, 9, 30. That is the first split, and the next split is 2, 3, 2, 6, 10, 14. What if you give here 3? You could see clearly it throws you, split doesn't result in equal division. That doesn't pass the split, because we are splitting column wise 0, 4, 8, 12, 1, 5, 9, 30. That is one first split. And if you go for the remaining split, because we have given 4, 4, that is the reason H split will make sure we split column wise 0, 4, 8, 12, 1, 5, 9, 13. That is the first two columns, and the last two columns will be 2, 6, 10, 14 and 3, 7, 11, 15. That is H split, right? This is very simple. And the similar thing when you go for V split, because we go for V split function is just used to, same what I'll do is I'll just copy it, where I'll just change this into vertically, because V split stands for vertically. I'm sorry. So I'll just copy this, right? So V split is basically, we are trying to split an array into multiple sub arrays vertically. When we say vertically, what does that mean? It is row wise. So now we want to split it row wise. The same way we have the same things for stacking. That's where we join H stack, V stack, because these play a very vital role when you're working on multiple arrays, or that arrays will be in the format of tabular data. That's where we're working on pandas. The same thing what I'll do is, why can't we take the same example, where if it is of 4 by 4, right, I'll just remove it and pass with another example like this. A is equal to np dot arrange. You can take the same example, but I want to give you multiple couple of examples. So I'll just go for reshape of, what is the possible split over here? 4 5s, 5 4s. It's up to you. So print of A, you get 0 to 19. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is 4 rows and 5 columns. Where, what are the rows here if you try to split? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the, what is the first row? 0, 1, 2, 3. Second row is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So here what I'll try to do is, I want to split this into two rows. Just we'll go for np dot, we just pass it as V split of. It expects again the array and the indices or sections, same it throws. So I'll just give A comma, and I'll give 2 if I want to split into 2 rows. So what is the first row? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is the first split. That is the reason it gave you array of. You see the comma over there. What is the second split? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's where you could clearly observe the splits. Just make it very simple. If you want to perform the same thing, whatever you have done for split function, you can do it. How do we give the indices or sections? You can do the same thing. But I want to just give another approach. How do you go for splitting the arrays into multiple sub arrays? If it is H split, that is we go for column wise. If it is V split, we go row wise. So this is all about splitting. In the same way, if we want to just go for joining of the arrays, that's where we use stack function. Stack function plays a very important role, where we try to join a sequence. We just try to join a sequence of arrays along a new axis, because the default axis will be 0, that is row wise, where I'll try to take a very simple example. So first, we have already worked about the zeros and ones array, right? So what I'll do is, we just try to recall it. So here I pass my input ARR is equal to np dot array of, I'll pass my own input like this, starting with 1, 2, 3, 4. It's up to you whether you pass your own values or you go with reshape or anything. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm just passing my own values. It's up to yours. 15, 16, 17, 18. There you go. 17, 18. And when I give print ARR, And if I want to see the shape of it, what is the shape you could expect? How many rows we are giving? 4 rows and 4 columns. ARR dot shape. So it is 4 rows and 4 columns. Very good. Now, why can't we go for creating one more array which will include like this? That is ARR1 is equal to, let's take np dot zeros, because np dot zeros of whatever we try to pass, that's where we try to pass it as same shape. The shape should be same. ARR1, there you go. That is 4 by 4 of zeros. Now, what we try to do here? We try to go for arranging both of them. How do we just combine both of them? We just give it as np dot stack function. Stacking, how do you arrange it? See, axis parameter. What are your arrays? And axis is 0. Axis, array, sequence of array, like each array must have the same shape. That's the key point, right? Now pass it here. Give ARR, comma, ARR1. That is a sequence of arrays. Why are you giving in this way? What happens if I don't give in this way? You try it, no issues. See, only one size arrows can be converted to Python scalars. It will be a type error because he clearly mentioned what he want as input when we go for stacking. He clearly mentioned that it is sequence of arrays. So when you pass sequence of arrays, you know very well know how to give it. ARR, comma, ARR1. So both of them will be joining. See, now this is. So this is how you are combining it. So ARR, comma, ARR1. You just combine both of them and it is according to axis 0. In the same way, if you want to arrange it is, that is where we have H stack and V stack. That's where we go for horizontal stacking and vertical stacking. So when you see H stack, that is basically appending data horizontally. That's where it is simple, right? Same, if you go for H split, what you have understood? The same thing here. That is when you are going for H split, it is basically we are going for column wise, right? If I go for np.h stack of the same thing I pass here, I try to pass it as same ARR, comma, ARR1. I just press this. What happens over there? Horizontal, that is column wise. And in the same way, when we go for V stack will generally make sure we try to go with arranging vertically, that is row wise. ARR, comma, ARR1. Because we'll be understanding the differences when we go for concatenation. Stacking is basically joining and concatenation will just pretty much differ over there, because if I try to change the shape here, it's gone. It clearly throw me an error. So this is where you just understand about stacking. Horizontal, always column wise. Vertical, this is row wise. So I'll just make some comments here so that you could always remember. This is column wise and this is row wise. That's where vertical things, right? Then we'll understand about the other very important function, which is where. What do you mean by where? Generally, when do you use where? You are searching for something, right? Yes. So where is also similar thing. When we go for, when you try to return elements chosen from the given X or Y arrays, or depending. So chosen from, which is chosen from the given arrays. Return elements chosen from the arrays. So I'll just give a simple example so that you could easily use it whenever you're trying to find out where we use the where function, because where plays a very vital role when you're trying to find it. So I just give ARR is equal to np dot, because it's better to know the good number of functions when we try to read it. So let me try to give 1, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3. I just give some values 1, 4, 5. What we'll do is we'll try to give some set of limits so that you will easily understand. 1, 2, 3, 10. I'll just pass it 1, 2, 3, 10, 8, 5, 2. Okay. Now what I'll do is, so this is your ARR. That's a one-dimensional array. That's very much simpler. How do you just try to give, if I give ARR greater than 3, what happens? How do you try to compare it? It just returns the Boolean things which we have already studied. So if it is greater than 3, 1 is greater than 3, false. 2 greater than 3, false. 3 greater than 3, false. 10, 8, true, true. 5 is true. The same thing, how do you want to get the values? You just pass it like this. ARR of, same, what we have done with the Boolean indexing. So ARR of ARR greater than 3, you get only the values which are greater than 3. This is what you generally do it. The same thing can be done with the help of where function. F is equal to np dot where of, it expects the input as where condition comma x comma y. So what is my condition over there? My condition is what are the elements present in the given array which are greater than 3. That should give me the result, array of 3, 4, 6. Right? That's what you could easily see over there, and you could clearly see because np dot where of where are greater than 3. Why did it throw me 3, 4, 6? Actually, what are the 3, 4, 6 values? Np dot where of where are greater than 3. If you clearly see what does 3, 4, 6 mention, I'll make it. So where you go for indexing wise 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You could clearly see 10, 8 and 5 are at those positions. What if you want to see the values? Just pass it as ARR of F. Then it will throw you the values. Right? 10, 8, 5. Make it very clear. Suppose if I interchange this to 12. Now you again see the change in the positions of when you pass where, because it will return the positions first. ARR greater than 3. 3, 4, 5, 6. Why it gave you 10, 8, 12, 5. All of them are greater than 3. That is the reason if you give ARR of F, you get those values. So this is very, very important when you are just trying to get the condition what you are trying to give, because where plays a very vital role when you are just trying to get the chosen elements. That is very, very important, and make sure you pass the condition correctly. It will throw you a given result. So this is how, so when you pass the condition, it will clearly throw you the given result. So this is how we have understood how do we go for stacking, how do we go for split function, and how do we understand the difference between ravel and flatten. Make sure you go step by step. Any queries, as I told you, I'm there to help you out, because we'll be understanding the differences between append and concatenate, because when you go for stacking, you are arranging it row wise and column wise. When you're splitting, you just split it row wise and column wise. The same thing we'll be doing for append and concatenate, but there we clearly have some difference, right? So make it very simple. Have a good practice. You could have so many functions, but because you have so many functions in the arrays when you go for numpy.arrays, but make it very simple what you are doing and where you are concentrating. That plays a very vital role. Always stick to the fundamentals of how do you create the array, difference between multi-dimensional arrays and single dimensional arrays. Make it very, very simple. Right? So in the next video, we'll be working on how do you try to append and concatenate the arrays. So in this video, we have understood the difference between ravel and flatten functions, as ravel returns a view of the original array, whereas flatten returns a copy. We have also worked on how to split an array into multiple sub-arrays, along with joining a sequence of arrays along a new axis. In the following video, we will work on appending and concatenating arrays in NumPy. Thank you. I hope you have enjoyed watching it. If you have liked our content, please do hit like button and do subscribe to our YouTube channel for more useful content and exciting updates. If you want to learn such practical content at an affordable cost with Microsoft certification and instructor support, please register at academy.codenan.com. You can also download app from Play Store as Codenan. Never hesitate to raise queries in the comment section, and please do reply with your suggestions for more practical videos. We'll be happy to come up with it. Thank you.